want to do that?
Just to let the committee aware, the webcast is now started, so we can proceed the meeting.
Right, good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to this first meeting of in person, and it's lovely to have that opportunity in it to see everybody rather than have a virtual screen that people are dipping in and dipping out. And I know my internet's always up and down, so it's really good that everybody's managed to come in play. My name's Councillor Reagan, and I'll be chairing the Community Committee meeting today. Could I remind everyone that we're holding this meeting in a way that's COVID secure, and the seats around the table are set in a place, so I don't want anybody to move those seats because they're in social distancing areas. And before we begin, could I inform members that the health and safety guidance that we received from council officers recommend that this meeting should conclude within 90 minutes of it starting. And whilst I do not suggest that we curtail debate, I'm going to be looking to chair this with that in mind, that we keep to time limits. Welcome, Councillor Khan. The Inner East Community Committee covers Berman, Toffs and Richmond Hill, Gipton and Harells and Killingbeck and Seacroft wards, and is a community committee where ward councillors have an opportunity to discuss and make decisions about services and priorities for local areas, and also consider funding applications regarding local community projects and youth activities. As we said before, the meeting is being live streamed on the City Council's YouTube channel, so just bear that in mind when you're doing facial expressions or hand gestures to keep it appropriate. Could I now invite members and officers to introduce themselves and mute your microphone once you have spoken. So, like I've said before, I'm Councillor Denise Reagan from Berman, Toffs and Richmond Hill, and I'll be chairing the Community Committee this afternoon. We'll go around this way.
Liz Jarman, Head of Locality Partnerships for Leeds City Council.
Councillor David Jenkins, representing Killingbeck and Seacroft Ward.
Councillor Katie Dye, also from Killingbeck and Seacroft.
Councillor Owen Graham, thank you for inviting me, Chair. Berman, Toffs and Richmond Hill Ward.
Good afternoon, everyone. Councillor Asghar Khan for Berman, Toffs and Richmond Hill Ward.
Good afternoon, everyone. Camilla Maxood, representing Gipton and Harehills.
Hello, everyone. Natasha Prosser, Clerk to the Inner East Community Committee.
Afternoon, everyone. I'm Ruth Tiernan and I'm the Localities Officer for the Inner East Community Committee.
Lovely. We've received a statement from Councillor Arif. She's running a little bit late, but she's intending to join the meeting a bit later on. And we've had apologies from Councillor Paul Drinkwater. Is that right, Tasha?
Yeah, that's correct, Chair.
Lovely. So agenda item 1 then on the papers. My opening remarks, I think I've done my opening remarks in the sense of, you know, it's lovely to have everybody here in person, so we'll move swiftly on. Any appeals, Tasha?
There's no appeals, Chair.
Any exempt information?
There's no exempt items.
Any late items?
I'm unaware of any late items of business. However, Ruth is circulating some additional wellbeing applications around to members that you should have received. Thank you.
Declarations of interest. Have we got anybody that wants to declare any interest? Can't see anybody indicating. Lovely. I've said the apologies that I've received. Anybody got any other apologies from people?
Chair, just to let you know, I will have to leave this meeting at 3 o'clock. I've got another engagement. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you, Asghar. Councillor Khan. In accordance with this, we have not got an open forum, have we, Tasha?
No, so just to confirm, this is where we'd usually receive any written submissions from members of the public. We've not received any today to read out.
Thank you. Everybody's received a copy of the minutes of the previous meeting. We're moving on to item 8. Can I have somebody to propose that they're a true record who was at that meeting? Councillor Jenkins, thank you. Councillor Khan seconded that. Has anybody got any items that they want to raise on those minutes that are not on the agenda? Bearing in mind, just keep it really tight because we've got 90 minutes. Councillor Jenkins.
Yes, just on item 70, with regard to the flexibus, that we've had further information about how the flexibus is going to operate, and it's going to cover the sort of area of East Leeds. Well, it's going to cover East Leeds really, but apart from Gipton and Hare Hills, which is a bit bizarre. So I think the representation's been made by the Gipton and Hare Hills councillors to try and include that area, but it is a pilot project. And the plan is it will start in September with about 6 or 7 electric buses running within the area of East Leeds, covering from the Ring Road to St James's Hospital, sort of Vermontoft and Richmond Hill. So it'll be single rides of £2 a ride, and then it will operate from 7 in the morning to 7 at night, and it is a trial period. We've been trying to, the buses actually are housed in Hunslet, and that's where they're charged because they're electric buses, and we've been trying to get the Highways Department in Limewood to see if we can get them charged there. It will then mean, because there's about 14 drivers going to be employed on the service, and if they hopefully will come from the East Leeds area, rather than have to go all the way to Hunslet, hopefully they can actually be charged at the council depot in Limewood Approach. So we'll have to see if that's possible, but it's quite an exciting idea, and hopefully it'll be spread across the city as well.
Thank you, Councillor Jenkins. Councillor Khan.
Thank you, Chair. Just to follow on from Councillor Jenkins, Vermontoft Richmond Hill councillors have also shared the information of local residents and organisations with the flexibus, so they can go out there, consult, and update those organisations. So we've done those as well. So just for minutes. So we have shared that information. So they will be going out to consult with local organisations, with residents, so and how the flexibus will be operating. Thank you.
Thank you. I think it might be an idea at the next cycle of committee meetings to invite the people that are running this flexi transport scheme to come and give us an update and see how things are moving on in Inner East. Is everybody in agreement with that? Yeah, lovely. Councillor Graham.
I'd like to move to page 8 and page 69, Compassionate City Awards update, Chair. This award is long overdue for the work that yourself and Asgar's done in the ward at Vermontoft and Richmond Hill and what have you. Long overdue. It's been required for some considerable time now to be recognised for the work of what all the councillors do, but don't get recognition in the way they should do. So I'm just saying congratulations on this to both of you for the work you've done while I'm in the disposition that I am in and what have you. But believe me, where an award is earned and created, you have earned it, both of you, fair of you, for the benefit of the people.
Can I just stop you there, Ron? The community awards are for community groups and for individuals that are living and working in the ward. It's no recognition for councillors and members of the council to get a nomination for a good citizen. And we had a really well received report at last community committee where Inner East Community Committee did really well out of the community awards. We had several projects within all the 3 of the wards that had been successful in getting those wards. So that's where it stays. Thank you. Moving on, item, David.
Thing from the previous minutes. Item 71 was about having a discussion with Ali Rogers from the Gate. And I just wondered if that could be added to the next agenda.
I think, Councillor Jenkins, it needs to be yourselves as Killingbeck and Seacroft ward members in the first instance. And then if that's not rectified and if there's something that needs to bring to the committee, then we can look at that. But I think in the first instance, you as ward members need to have that discussion because it's pertaining to your particular ward. Katie?
Just on that, we have had meetings with Ellie as ward councillors in Killingbeck and Seacroft. And on the minutes, it said that a suggestion was made to invite her. So I think it would be great to have her to the next meeting of the whole community committee.
Liz, do you want to come in on that?
Yeah, we can certainly invite it to the next meeting if everybody's in agreement. We didn't invite anybody to this meeting because of we're still in the midst of a pandemic. So it's just to try and make sure that we kept the 90-minute time slot and also to make sure that we limited that social contact as much as possible.
I think we've got to bear that in mind, haven't we, when we're setting up these meetings? We've only got limited time, and if we, you know, every ward's got a specific projects that they want to discuss, and and so we've really got to keep a tight control on that. Yes, David.
Yeah, sorry. So what we're trying to do is draw up a cross-departmental challenge, really, to look at negotiated stopping places and the whole issue of how we work with the traveller community across the whole of Leeds. So I think what we're trying to do is establish that within East Leeds if we can, and then across all our wards, because I think it affects us all.
I think it does, but I think there's a clear strategy and development within housing and communities around what the next stage is for traveller sites and workings with that. And I think we need to get some information from Gerard Tinsdale, so we've got clear evidence of where the council are going in this, rather than branching out to another avenue, really. Yeah, so that would be my suggestion, that we get Gerard to give us a report regarding the traveller sites and the strategy that they're working to, and then invite, like you say, the person from the Gate to the next meeting.
Sorry.
I don't want
No.
I don't want this to labour because we've got 90 minutes.
No. Yeah, absolutely. So all I'm saying is it's a whole, a very holistic view about education, schooling, and you know, it's a really interesting topic, and I think it's something that we really need to tackle. Okay.
No, can't see any indications for anything from the minutes. So moving on, agenda item 9. Can I ask one of the officers to lead on this, please?
Thanks, Chair. So this is the annual report of the City Solicitor that requests members to consider the appointments within the Community Committee and to note the appointment of Councillor Reagan as Chair of the Inner East Community Committee. So the appointments members will be considering today are those to the outside bodies, cluster partnerships, housing advisory panels, local care partnerships, as well as the Community Committee champions and the appointment to the Corporate Parenting Board. So the proposed appointments we'll be considering are listed at section 6 of the submitted report on page 16. Chat, are you happy for me to go through these one by one? Yep, so
Happy.
thank you. So I'll start with outside bodies. So this is for the Chapeltown Citizens Advice Bureau. So the current appointee is Councillor Maxood. Are you happy to continue this one?
Yes, I am.
Thank you.
Can I just have a show of hands from present that's okay?
So moving on to Richmond Hill Elderly Action. Councillor Reagan is the current appointee for this one and the proposed appointee for 2020-2021. Can I ask members if they're agreeable? So moving on to the clusters, we've got the Seacroft Manston. Councillor Jenkins is the current appointee for this one. Are you happy to carry that one over? So moving on to the Inner East cluster, the current appointees are Councillor Reagan and Councillor Arif.
Councillor Arif spoke to me and said that she no longer wants to be considered for any outside body appointments because of her introduction into the executive board, and her time is very limited. So there clearly is a vacancy here from Gipton and Harold's, if one of you two would want to come onto that cluster.
I'm also on the housing panel, so I think that's more, and I'm happy to continue with that. So I've got more than enough on.
Arif?
Well, it's hard for me, to be honest with you, as well. It's because I'm into the environment, yeah. So, yeah.
If you don't want to, we'll just leave it vacant and we'll move on, and yeah, fine. So just
Thanks, Jan.
take
Yeah.
that, it's a
And you can always revisit that at any point as well. So moving on to the Together cluster. So Councillor Arif is currently down for this one, but again, this one, there'll be a vacancy. Yeah. So can I ask members for proposed appointee?
Is that Together cluster just for the Gipton and Harold's members? Yeah, it is, internet.
I'm sorry, I don't know. So
I think we need to revisit the cluster issue as well, don't we? I as chair will attend that if in absence of no members, and then I can, put that forward for other people. Okay.
Thanks, Chair. So moving on to the local housing advisory panels.
Okay. Carry on, Tasha.
Thank you. So the Inner East Local Housing Advisory Panel. So the current appointees for this one's Councillor Maxood and Councillor Graham. Proposed appointees, Councillor Reagan, Councillor Maxood. Members happy with this one?
Yeah.
So moving on to the Outer East Local Housing Advisory Panel. Current appointees, we've got Councillor Jenkins, Councillor Drinkwater. Councillor Drinkwater hasn't come back on this one, so there is an open vacancy.
Nominate Councillor Dye. For that
Yeah.
vacancy.
Happy with that.
For that.
Yeah, just to say I'm happy to do that.
Great stuff.
So moving on to the community committee champions now. So we do have a vacant space for the children's services champion. And just to note, we also usually use the same appointee for the corporate parenting board. Do we have any nominations for this one?
I'll do it, Tash.
Are all members agreeable for Councillor Reagan to take this one on?
Loads. That's what I'm paid for though as a councillor, and it's a full-time job.
So moving on to the community safety champion, Councillor Reagan. Environment safety champion, Councillor Reagan. Employment skills and welfare, Councillor Graham. And health, wellbeing and adult social care, Councillors Khan and Councillor Jenkins.
Can I will not be able to fulfill this role due to my other commitments as the Lord Mayor of Leeds. So will somebody else like to nominate themselves? Happy to support them. Thank you.
Councillor Jenkins, are you happy to take on that role in full capacity? Yeah. Lovely. Can we have a show of hands that that's okay? Great stuff. Councillor Khan, did you want to come in?
Yeah, I was just going to nominate Councillor Jenkins actually. So
Oh, yeah.
it's already been done and
He's beat the
dusted now.
bullet,
So
yeah. Lovely.
Thanks, Chair. That's all the
sorry,
nominations.
Councillor Khan, your name's up there as well. Are you still able to continue with that? No. So you need to come off there as well. Chapeltown and Bermondsey CLP? LCP, sorry.
Local care
Yeah.
partnerships.
Sorry, Chair, yeah, we need to go through them
Yeah.
ones.
So you're coming off that one, councillor Khan, yeah? Well, as Bermondsey, as a ward member, I'll go on to that one.
So just to confirm, councillor Reagan, is it the York Road LCP that you're putting yourself forward for?
For both of those local care
Yeah,
partnerships.
so they have only requested that there's one space for the Bermondsey Richmond Hill, so we don't need 2 members on that one. But it's, yeah,
Councillor Khan's coming off.
we did appoint 2 members last year,
Yeah.
but they've changed it this year, so we only actually require 1.
So it's,
Oh.
yeah, it's me.
Councillor Hussain has said yes as well.
Yeah, Councillor Hussain is attending that one as the Gipton and Harold's
Yes.
member. Yeah, I will take over from Councillor Khan as
Yeah.
a Bermondsey Richmond Hill member. Yeah, and I will also attend the Cross Gates one because that's part of our ward as well.
Yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Okay. You can, Ron?
And the chair, with the situation where the health and welfare budget is concerned and the NHS at the moment, when we're nominating all these people here, even including myself and what have you, where is the options open for people from the community to be represented on
Well,
this?
this is not an opportunity to discuss community reps. It's the stage where councillors from this committee are appointed to outside bodies. So if you want to bring that up further down the agenda, Ron, I'm quite happy to look at that. With outside bodies, Camilla, can I ask you to turn your mic off, love? Yeah, we all done with that? Moving swiftly on then. We're down to the next agenda item, which is yourself, Ruth, to go through.
Thank you, councillor Reagan. So I'm just going to work through the area update report now. So in terms of your agenda pack, the area update report starts on page 31 of your pack. So the chair, councillor Reagan, has asked me to take the area update report and the social media report as read, apart from one of the items that just need discussing by members today. It's a bit of a sort of extension of what we've just been discussing now about nominations. So that's the subgroup nominations for the community committee. So they start on page 31, paragraph 3. You can see subgroup nominations. That table there shows the 2020-21 nominations. So everybody that was on the subgroups last year. And members are invited to nominate representatives for each subgroup for this coming municipal year. So my understanding is councillor Reagan's still happy to continue as the community committee champion from the environment and community safety subgroup. And the current appointees on that are councillor Reagan, councillor Dye and councillor Hussain. So it's just to check that you're all still happy to sit on that subgroup.
Yep, I'm still happy.
Councillor Hussain's still happy with that one. And then for the Inner East Children and Young People subgroup, Councillor Reef, obviously in a new role, has stepped down from the champion role and from the subgroups. There's a vacancy there, which Councillor Reagan has confirmed that she's happy to take as the community committee champion for the Children and Young People subgroup.
Yeah.
The other appointees on that was Councillor Reef, who will now step down from that, Councillor Reagan, and Councillor Drinkwater. Councillor Drinkwater is obviously not here today, but he hasn't confirmed whether or not he still wants to carry on that subgroup. So it's whether or not, obviously,
I think we had the nomination from Killenbeck and Seacroft in the sense that either one of you two would take on that. Councillor Dye.
Yep,
Yeah.
I'm happy to do that.
Nomination from Gipton and Harold's that somebody from your ward would come to the subgroup. I mean, how many times does this subgroup meet? It's not a regular monthly meeting, is it? It's just to make sure that we've got all wards are covered with the subgroup. So I think we need some representation from you. But do you want to go back and discuss that outside and then come back to the committee with?
Yes, please, we'll do that.
Is that okay? Thank you. I can follow that.
So that's it in terms of the subgroup nomination. So unless members have got any other questions in terms of the rest of the report and the area update report, I'll move on to the finance report. So in terms of your agenda pack, the finance report starts on page 71. And this report details the wellbeing revenue, capital, community infrastructure levy, and the youth activity fund position for the 2021-22 financial year. And as Tasha mentioned before, additional to the finance report are a number of projects to be considered as late items, which I've printed, and I think everybody's got. I don't know if do you have a copy, Councillor Rick, down there? If not, we can. The late items, Tasha will bring them down. So there's a few late items as well, just to cover, and I'll cover those at the end of the finance report. So in terms of the wellbeing funding, that's on paragraphs 11 to 20, 17 to 20, starting on page 73. And that provides a summary of the revenue allocation to date in this financial year. And table 1 on page 74 shows a total of £83,680.28 that's been allocated to wellbeing projects so far in this financial year. And that leaves a balance of £237,633.64. And then paragraphs 22 to 30 outline projects that have been approved via DDN in the last since the last community committee, which members will be aware of because obviously it's done via email. On paragraph 31 on page 77, that sets out the one project that's been declined since the last community committee meeting, and that was the West Leeds Activity Centre YAF application. So then just moving on to wellbeing ring fences. So as members are aware, at this time of year, it's usual for members to consider ring fences for the new financial year. We've discussed these obviously outside of the committee at various different ward member meetings, and the proposal for this year's ring fences start on page 77, paragraph 33 of the finance report, and I'll just run through them now. So the first one's the small grants and skips allocation. So the proposal is to ring fence £17,000 in total for small grants and skips across the committee. And the allocation by ward is proposed as follows: so Bermondsey and Richmond Hill 5,666.67, Killinbeck and Seacroft 5,666.66, and Gibson and Hare Hills 5,666.67. So are we okay with that one in terms of small grants and skips? Ring
Yeah,
fence?
fine.
And then for tasking, the proposal is to ring fence £9,000 in total, and with a ward allocation split equally between the 3 wards, so £3,000 per ward. So Bermondsey and Richmond Hill 3,000, Killinbeck and Seacroft 3,000, Gibson and Hare Hills 3,000. Be okay with that one?
Fine.
And then members are also asked to consider the ring fence of £3,600 to support community engagement activities allocated to each ward and split equally. So Bermondsey and Richmond Hill 1,200, Killinbeck and Seacroft 1,200, and Gibson and Hare Hills 1,200. Okay with that one? And this one's just specific to Gibson and Hare Hills. So members are asked to ring fence, or consider ring fencing £15,000 for the Gibson and Hare Hills Christmas lights and Christmas lights activities. Happy with that one? And also for Gibson and Hare Hills, members are asked to ring fence £3,000 towards the Gibson and Hare Hills Greener Gibson campaign. And also for Gibson and Hare Hills, members are asked to ring fence £4,000 to be allocated to the Gibson and Hare Hill bonfire night activities. So that's everything in terms of ring fences. And then in terms of wellbeing projects, in terms of the finance report, there's just 2 wellbeing projects to consider. And they're starting on page 78, and it's paragraph 41 to 42. And just to confirm that these funding requests are all to be approved from the 2021-22 East Community Committee wellbeing budget. So the first one is the Gibson and Hare Hills football project, so it's street work soccer for their Gibson and Hare Hills projects. The amount proposed is £4,000, and that's for them to run the sessions at the Damon Fanny Waterman Centre with a combination of sort of youth activities and obviously football training sessions as well. Happy with that one? And then the second one is from Irish Arts, and that's for the community learning and participation programme. So that's the programme of different activities that Irish Arts do across the 3 wards throughout the year. And the total amount for that is £2,800, and it's split equally across the three wards. So £933, Gibson and Hare Hills 933.33 from Killinbeck and Seacroft, and 933.33 from Bermondsey and Richmond Hill. With that one. And then if you just
Just one out, Ruth, where will this session will be delivered from?
So the delivered in a few different locations across the 3 wards. So I know it's in terms of Bermondsey and Richmond, it's definitely the Irish Centre. I think it's Seacroft Working Men's Club and Chapel FM as well up in Seacroft, and then in Gibson and Harehills, I think it might be the Henry Barron Centre that they run some sessions from. But I can double check them. But they definitely confirm where they were, and I can let members know if they wanted to attend.
Ruth, can I just ask that all the funding bids, if they're going to be delivered in various areas, can we have when they're putting these bids together, can we have an identified locations of where they're going to be running and what days and what times? So it's really easier then, isn't it? When members get that pack, they can clearly see when they're going to be taking place.
Yeah, it will have been in the original application form, but yeah, for the future when I'm just doing the summary, I can try and make sure that that's in there as well. But it was in the original pack, but I can send that through, Councillor Carr. So that's Irish Arts, and then in terms of the project monitoring, so that starts on page 40, paragraph 43, page 79. And just in terms of time, I've just agreed with Councillor Reagan just to take that as read in terms of the monitoring and just move on to the Youth Activity Fund summary. So
can I just come back though, Ruth, on that particular point about the monitoring? I think because it's clearly committee funding and members are agreeing to this funding, I think we need some photo opportunities where local ward members, where projects are being delivered, they can actually get involved in that. And it's a really good a good PR project, isn't it, to let the community know that the councillors have funded that. Councillor Arif.
Thanks, Chair. I think you make I'm not Councillor Arif Hussain, but hey ho. Really good point, I think, because often we sit around and this is an exercise that we have to get through, but actually it's an opportunity to let residents out there know that we're funding these projects. And I say this all the time, and I think if I'm not mistaken, it should say sponsored or funded by your local councillors. And I think over the years, Chair, if I may say so, that's we don't see a lot of that. So I'd like to emphasise that we do that, please, because this funding, it needs to be made clear that it's coming from the Inner East Community Committee and the local councillors are funding it, please.
That's the point that I was making, Councillor Arif.
Here.
Yeah, just to follow on from there, Chair. Councillor Arif has made a valid point, and yourself as well. I think we also got a social media platform where we can use that platform as well to share that information. And there's a lot of activities that we sponsor, we fund, as my previous colleagues have already echoed. I think that needs to be promoted out in the community. So we've got a Facebook, we've got Twitter, we need to start using those. And when residents start asking questions, we can share those activities on that social media as well, Chair. So I think social media we need to be active on our social media as well.
I think that will take place, and I think in officers' defence, I think because we've had COVID and we've had a lot of projects cancelled, but I do agree that we need to step up to the plate and make that more regarding councillor support on that. Yeah.
thank you, Councillor Reagan. So I'll just move on to Youth Activity Fund now then. So on page 81, table 2, that outlines a total of £12,126 that's been allocated towards YAF projects so far this financial year, and that leaves a remaining balance of £105,192.64. And there's 4 new YAF projects to consider, and they start on page 81, paragraph 53. And these are funding requests that are for the approval from the 2021-22 Inner East Community Committee Youth Activity Fund budget. So the first one is Gibson and Harehills projects for Junior Sports Hub, and that's for their summer activities in 2021. So it's to deliver their summer programme of summer delivery throughout the children's summer holidays, and it's for £4,000. Members are happy with that one. And then the next one is also Gibson and Harehills, and that's for Catch, and that is for their youth activities in 2021. So again, for them to deliver a range of activities during the summer holidays in Gibson and Harehills, and the amount proposed for that's £4,000. That one. And then the next one is also Gibson Hare Hills. And this is £4,000 again, and that's for Getaway Girls, and that's for their This Is Me project, which is a project using arts and different sort of performance mechanisms to support young people, young women in particular, growing confidence, and that will run for the rest of the year. That's for £4,000. Happy with that one. So that's YAF, and then in terms of sorry.
Yes, Salma. Item 55, Ruth. There, love.
My page. I think I copied it onto my paper. So item 55, Leeds Street Team. So this is Gibson and Hare Hills as well. So £4,000, and that's for their summer programme. And again, that's for a programme of summer delivery throughout the summer holidays in Gibson and Hare Hills. Okay, thank you for spotting that. And then I'll just move on to capital. So table 6 on page 83 details the capital budget. And there's a balance of £81,718 left for new schemes in the capital budget. And there's one capital project to consider today, and that's on page 83, paragraph 59. And again, just to confirm, that's for funding from the 2021-22 Inner East Community Committee capital budget, and that's for the Gibson and Hare Hills ward, for the Church of the Epiphany, and it's for installation of some new hall heaters in the hall, and that's for £2,000. Members are happy to support that one. And then finally, we've just got SIL, so the Community Infrastructure Levy. Details of that are tabled on table 7, page 84. And just to confirm, there's a balance of £80,838.06 left for new schemes. And there's no new SIL applications on the main finance report to consider, but there are on the late items. So if you're happy, Chair, just for me to switch over to the late items.
Yeah, please, yeah.
Those, yeah. So these are late items. It's from across the different budgets and projects that have come through fairly recently, mainly because we're obviously the restrictions of ease and everyone's excited and keen to get back to delivering stuff. So we've had lots of different new applications coming recently, and luckily we've all had a chance to discuss them before the meeting. So hopefully everyone's okay with them. So the first one is a wellbeing application. That's from Money Buddies, and it's for their Inner East community project. So the total amount is £15,183.19, and that's to cover the Killingbeck and Seacroft and Bermontos and Richmond Hill ward. And that will fund a Money Buddy to be based in, one Money Buddy to be based in Deacon House, with flexibility to work across the ward in Killingbeck and Seacroft, one Money Buddy at Richmond Hill Academy, and then one at Eva Gardens Money Buddies Hub. Members are happy with that one?
There were some provisos on that, wasn't there, about when they're starting and how they're going to work within the wards, because we were concerned about the amount of money that they were getting on an ongoing basis, and we wanted to make sure that they were delivering and they were helping and supporting the people of that ward where the money was coming from, not from outside of the area. So I think we just need a little bit more from. Sorry, do you want to come in? No, all right. We think it's a fantastic project, but we just wanted some more details on how many people that they were engaging with. Thank you.
And the next one is for Streetwork Soccer, and that's Friday Youth Hub. This is for Killingbeck and Seacroft ward, and that's for £5,720, and that's to deliver their weekly sessions at the Dennis Healy Centre. Happy with that one. And then the next one is a Youth Activity Fund project. So this one was for the Lincoln Green Park Play project, which is an Active Leeds project. It's to fund a youth worker to deliver regular sessions around the Lincoln Green Tower blocks. And it's for £2,500 from the Bermontos and Richmond Hill ward. With that one. And then the next one is New Horizons, which is a Gibson and Hare Hills project, and that's to run their summer sessions from the New Horizons Centre, and it's for £1,691. From YAF, we're happy with that one. And then final two are two new SIL projects for consideration from the 21-22 SIL allocation. So the first one is Bridging the Gap, which is a Chapeltown Youth Development Centre. This was for the shipping container storage unit to be placed on Oxton Fields. So it's £3,240 from the Bermondsey and Richmond Hill ward. And then the final one is small hall refurbishment at St Agnes's Church. So this is funding to replace the lighting and flooring and various different bits like that in a small hall. The proposal is £2,000 from the Bermondsey and Richmond Hill ward. Okay, so that's everything in terms of finance and the area update reports. The last bit is just the YAF consultation.
Can I
Move
just
on to
ask
that.
if any members have got any questions regarding the finance report? No, lovely. Move on then, Ro.
Okay, so I'll just quickly run through the last bit from me, which is just the Youth Activity Fund consultation report, which is page 80, or starts on page 89 of the agenda pack. So obviously members know that unfortunately this year we weren't able to run a physical in-person youth summit because of COVID. So what we as a kind of community committees team, it happened across all the 10 committees, is we did a consultation survey instead. So promoted it through sort of online, through youth services and different local youth organisations to try and get young people's feedback about what the priorities are for YAF spend this year. And the take up for the survey in Inner East was really good. We had 289 responses from young people living in Inner East ward, which is really positive. And the recommendations from the survey are set out in paragraph 29 on page 92. And some of the priorities essentially for that kind of came out from the report or from the survey from young people were to try and have youth activities offered in venues such as community centres, youth clubs and sports centres, as well as activities delivered outside. And they were keen that the majority of the provision was taking place regularly after school times and in evenings and on weekends, including things like holiday camps. And they also were keen to ensure that activities are inclusive of things like friendship groups, and then things like refreshments are provided and good quality staffing at the sessions. And the top most popular activities that young people said they were keen to see more of were things like sports clubs, things like rugby, football and cricket, youth clubs, cooking classes in clubs, and things like dance. And the infographic that just sort of gives a visual representation of what the young people's priorities were just in that appendix 1 as well. What I would say is I think that as a committee we fund lots of those things already, which is really positive. You know, I think it kind of echoes that we're on the right track in terms of the sorts of things that members do fund through YAF. But also obviously helpful just to get a sense of what young people's priorities still are for the area. So that's everything for me, Councillor Regan, unless members have any questions.
Yeah, just before I bring you in, I'd like to see on the young people subgroup, I'd like to see a representation from each of the wards of an individual young person that can sit on that and can look at the actual funding applications, so that they're part of. It's not us as councillors doing, it's us as councillors enabling young people to take charge of their own initiatives. So I'd like to see if we can all work towards that. David, then Katie, then Salma.
Yeah, well, just to say, I think that's absolutely a superb idea. When you say young person, do you mean a young person as in a service user aged young person?
I certainly do, and I think it might have to be two sides of the coin. It might have to be a representation from somebody that's involved in a particular group, or it might be an individual that wants to look at how we move things on, because I think we're into this initiative now where we're looking at commissioning, aren't we? We're looking at commissioning the whole of the youth service and youth activities, and it would be really ideal if we can get those young people involved in tailoring what specific needs of the areas are.
I was just going to mention that Inner West, just before COVID, actually did something very similar and recruited some young people. So if it'd be helpful for me to get some ideas about how they went around selecting those young people, so that you could look at know how those young, how that's operated in COVID, because they have still been involved, but also how they recruited those young people. I can speak to the councillors in that committee area to get some details for you.
Salma?
Yes, thank you, Chair. I think it's a really good idea. I think it'll add value to the group. My only thing that I want to talk about is going forward as well is that we somehow engage also with people or young children that are from our disabilities background, and it's really important that, because actually they might not may not have had a chance to go on the internet and say what they wanted to have. So I think it's really important, Chair, that we find a way and encourage to make sure that we're not leaving out some of our children that are vulnerable, that most need these sort of activities, and there's an input for us to have them to be on the table as well, please, Chair. Thanks.
You know, I'm very passionate about young people with special needs and disabilities, and I will champion that throughout. So I think, again, that's a really, really, really good idea, but I don't want to see that as an add-on. I want to see that as an integrated part of how we look at things. Yeah. Thanks for that, Salma. Anybody else?
Without wanting to create an extra work, I just wonder if there was a ward breakdown of the YAF survey. But is there one? Okay, it just might help us, you know, at a local level. Thank you.
Thanks for that. Anybody else got anything else? Do members have any other business? Go on, David.
So going back to item 10, you jumped rather quickly into the finance report. I don't know if there is. Still, on item 10.
On what page?
100. Well, page 62, I think. Item 123, the Green Guardian scheme. Can you find that?
62.
I think it's page 62 or 32. Maybe it's 32 within item 10. Yeah.
The Green
Okay.
Guardian scheme, yeah.
All right.
Lovely. Got it.
So, yeah, just to update people on that we had about 30 referrals altogether, and it was so successful we had to close the list. But I would recommend it as a project for other wards, really. You know, I think it's done in maybe in West Leeds and Horsforth or somewhere, but it's been really successful and been an inspiration, I think, for people to look at their gardens and also do some of the hedges and things that, you know, perhaps don't get done for people who've got disabilities or are quite vulnerable. So it's been really important, I think.
I think just on that one, David, there's been a through the HAP that was funded last year. There was a Good Gardens project that was funded by the HAP from the Birmingham Richmond Hillside to look at rewarding people for having a decent balcony, because you know, in Birmingham and Richmond Hill there's considerable amount of multi-story blocks. But yeah, it's clear, isn't it, that we harp on and we want action taken against people that are not keeping their gardens into the tenancy agreements that they've got, and also owner occupiers. But we need to be rewarding people that are keeping their gardens and their balconies and their community spaces up. So that is another initiative that's really taking off and it'll be rewarded.
And just two more quick things. Is it right order? I don't know really. It's Morecambe and Wise, I think. So 126, the Paul Estate Neighbourhood Group, just another inspiring group that a man called Andy Atkinson has helped set up. So they set up a Facebook group with the assistance of Louise Eden, the HAP Neighbourhood Engagement Officer, and they got 99 members within the first month. So this was an estate that, you know, had no real representation at all, but using Facebook, I think it's, you know, really brought people together and raised lots of issues. And finally, the East Leeds Academy, just to sort of note that they won the Parliamentary School of the Year for the Environment for its work on environment issues. So it's not on the agenda or anything, but you've been to see them, haven't you? And we've involved them at a local level to try and, you know, as they set an example really, the work that's being done. So it's quite a prestigious an award.
I think for future meetings, we're saying we want representation from certain bodies. I think we need something around the environment and what the projects are doing in each of the areas. And I think we need something in respect of the litter-free Leeds. We need those people to come and give us a presentation about, because that's a clear benefit to everybody in Inner East, and I think that'd be a welcome initiative. Do you?
I think that's a really, really good idea. And we've got the Seacroft Wombles in our ward that haven't been set up very, very long, but they've got nearly 200 members, and the work that they're doing is amazing. And the ward just looks so different, and you can see visually the impact that they're having. So I would definitely say I would support that. But also we are in the process of setting up a climate hub in Seacroft. We're one of 4 areas of the city that's doing that. So maybe that could be part of that report as well.
Thank you, Chair. Just on another matter, that I wonder if it's perhaps for us to explore as a committee. I'm sure, like our ward, you know, the wards have got the same issue about the issues we've got with antisocial behaviour, and I really think it's probably a timely opportunity for us to ask the department to come and speak to us. It's a massive issue, Chair, and it's obviously causing a lot of problems in our areas, particularly as the world opens up, so to speak. And I think that it'd be good for us to have a conversation with them, discuss some of the issues we've got, which we do individually anyway, but I think it'd probably be timely to have them. And then I can see Councillor Hussein's nodding his head as well. So if I can request that, that would be great. Thank you.
I'd be more than happy to do that. And I think as chair of the Community Safety and Environment subgroup, I think that needs to link into that particular format and how it's brought then to this committee for further knowledge. No.
I have a couple of points. Bob has come down today. Is a victim of stroke, is Bob, with his health and what have you, and that. And he's given his time to come down today, and I think we've missed a chance for him to actually address the meeting at the beginning of the meeting, Chair. Is there any way he can address the meeting
No,
now?
we can't, Ron. It's not open for public speaking. I'm sorry.
It's not open for public.
Not at this particular meeting. Not at this particular meeting. It isn't. You had to have. People had to have a submission to this committee prior to it commencing, and then the chair, along with the officer, would read those submissions and then seek if they needed some feedback. But
okay, right.
Liz, do you want to come in on that one?
Could I suggest that we liaise with your local resident and get a written submission that we can share amongst the members that are here today? Yeah, and then we can share it amongst you, and then he's not missed the opportunity to put forward his views. Okay.
Of interest to everybody in this council and this city, where what they call them, the antisocial behaviour is concerned. There is legislation being in operation now that's being actually put back by the litigation people, the lawyers of this city and the lawyers around the country. They're now brought forward by Richard Voss, who's a QC, to say that what is it called? ADR, alternative dispute resolution, right? I'm just getting back into practice here, speaking publicly. You need to record this because it's very, very important what's actually taking place here. The litigation people, the lawyers of this city and around the country are taking the piss out of us, basically. And I've done for a long time as regarding the charges they incur when they actually bring people to court.
Ron, just be careful with your language, please.
I know, I'm sorry.
You're on YouTube.
But the thing that I'm so furious about what's happening here where litigation is concerned you need to look at the ADR, adult alternative dispute resolution process, where the charges that occur against the council can be damaging as far as the amount of money that's incurred, wherever it's incurred in regarding crime and what have you. You need to have this on your agenda for the future as regarding under the social contracts, where the ABCD is actually rolling out its program now with the Leeds University. And I haven't, still a councillor, right, received anything which I was promised from the community committee when I raised it about the ABCD reports, the evaluation reports. Not a thing has been sent to us as regarding councillors, which we should be entitled to read as regarding what they've been doing where the ABCD is concerned. I know it's in Seacroft actioning very well, but it's not actioning very well in bloody Bermontos.
Right, right. Ron, I'm asking Liz as the community, head of Stronger Communities, to get that information and feedback to us. Is that okay with everybody? Thank you. Councillor Hussain?
Chair, thank you very much. I think it's antisocial. We discussed it so many times. Doesn't matter if it's a ward briefing or into the community committees. But to me, be honest with you, right where we are, is a gap, is action. Well, I think we needed to call to the ABC, not just ABS, not to only to them. I think it's selected license they're introducing in my ward and your ward too. And they are part of the responsible, right? Because it's not just only as a music or anything else, we have an overcrowding issue, right? And the most of in my ward is through the private landlords, right? And I think the selected license needed to be onto the board as well. And we needed to get action plans from either from ABS as well, and also from the selected license. And then my other concern is, be honest with you, right, it's just a drug matter, right? The drug issue is exactly the most of the my wards in Gipton and Hairhill, especially in the Hairhills, right? Again, from the private landlord, and again from the police. We was discussing it yesterday as well in the ward briefing, right? Well, a lot of residents are reporting it. A lot of residents, they don't want to come forward it. We all know why they don't want to come forward it. And whenever we getting feedback from the police, they're saying, you know, we need more information. Well, my job is, as elected members, our job is to raising the concerns, and their job is to investigate. It's not our job to investigate or tell it to the residents, yes, give it a statement. Who want to come in front of the drug dealers, especially when the young kids between 14 to 20, 8, 10, 12 in the street? People are living with the families, older people are with the children. So I think we needed to get from action plan from them, not to the, you know, all the times we're getting it, right, from, doesn't matter if it's ASB, private centers, from the police to inform or reporting it. Well, I mean, I think we needed to come on to the, be honest with you, as East Leeds action plan, what action they are going to take it. It's our job is to raise it, to passing the information.
Councillor Hussain, can I assure you that following on from this meeting, I'm going to liaise with Liz. I'm going to get Paul Money, who was the head of Safer Leeds, and look at how we can conduct a meeting with our LASBOC colleagues, with our social housing for all 9 board members of Inner East Leeds. And we can look at a clear, outside of this meeting, and look at a clear way forward and progression of what needs to be done and what is being done. Is that okay with everybody? And I can assure you this will take place. Private landlord. So let's not get into that individual debate. I think all councillors have disclosed their interest on their council register of what their interests are, and I'm sure that's the governance will be well aware of that particular issue. But just to affirm that we'll set that meeting up with with the relevant bodies and get back to you on that one. It's really congratulations to we all of keeping this meeting really, really tight, and thank you all for attending, and I look forward to working with you in the next financial year of all our issues. And just be aware that if there are any issues that you're not getting dealt with at a local level, please pass them on via the subgroups, and then they will pass them on to the committee so that we can really get them. It's no good just harping on and not getting anything done. They're the proper channels to go through the champions, to go through the subgroups, and then to finally come to this meeting. Yeah. Thank you all. Thank you. When you're leaving, just put your mask on. Thank you.